Or afternoon now, my apologies. First, I just want to say I truly appreciate all of you in the media for your coverage on this. I cannot tell you how instrumental that is on a case like this, and I really appreciate you bringing this to everybody's attention and you putting out there in the forefront, because it's certainly very important to us and it's important to the community. So I want to thank you for that. We've been monitoring a lot of the social media activity, and we've been paying attention to the special interest groups and the true crime groups that are all following this as well. And I certainly want to thank them for their participation in this and keeping this out in front. First thing I need to do is I need to dispel a rumor, and that rumor is Noel has not been found. He is still missing. So I want to be very clear on that. I know that rumor's been going around on social media quite a bit, and that is not the case. He is still missing. Give you a little bit of an update from what we've got last night, and then I'll be happy to answer any questions as we move forward. So last night, our investigators were able to recover a vehicle that was located at DFW Airport. It was the 2012 Chevy pickup that was listed in the initial Amber Alert and the Endangered Missing Persons Alert. That vehicle was taken to a secure holding where investigators were able to conduct a thorough search of that vehicle. Among other items located in the vehicle, our investigators did locate an electronic travel visa for one of the children. That visa indicated that it was obtained on March 21st. One day after the welfare check. The visa also indicated that the travel was to India. In addition to that, our investigators have been in contact with Homeland Security, and we were able to confirm that that flight did travel to Turkey first, and then from there on to India. So at this point, we're still waiting on final confirmation on the passenger list to India, but we have reason to believe that the family has traveled back to India. I need to explain a little bit of the living situation here and the dynamic at home. As many of you have seen this morning, you've seen our investigators and our teams out there this morning at the residence conducting some searches, and I want to make sure that we're clear on the living arrangements there at the address. This family resides in the backyard of a home that belongs to an elderly gentleman. The elderly gentleman has been highly cooperative with law enforcement. He has granted us consent to search the property. He has put forth all the information that he knows, and he has been cooperating with investigators 100%. So we're very appreciative to his cooperation. Our investigators and teams were out there this morning and are still out there now conducting a thorough search of the property to try to locate any evidence, any signs of what may have happened to Noel or where he might be. We did, just to check a box, we did have cadaver dogs come in today to search the property. That was just to make sure that we're covering our bases all across the board. And those cadaver dogs did not alert onto the property. Again, we don't have reason to believe, there's no evidence to suggest that he is deceased, but we are checking all of our boxes and making sure that we are as thorough as we can possibly be. This search that they're doing today is actually a secondary search of the residence. Officers are recovering several documents. We're looking at receipts. We're pulling any and all information we can possibly pull to try to locate Noel. Last thing I want to make sure that we talk about is that the tips that are coming in are extremely helpful. I mentioned earlier about how media keeping this out in front is certainly imperative on a case like this, and we want those tips to keep coming in. We've received a lot of other information coming in, and we have investigators working on those. This case has really prompted a lot of other law enforcement attention from federal law enforcement agencies and state law enforcement agencies, and so we've been able to cooperate with them and get their assistance, and we're looking forward to seeing if that may take this case a little bit further. Outside of that, to date, I still don't have, we were hopeful that we would have some physical evidence. I still don't have any physical evidence after those searches today, but we are going to continue moving forward as best as we can. So with that, I'm going to take your questions.
Chief, do you believe that this little boy is alive somewhere out there?
So I'm going to share with you, there is a rumor, and I want to be very clear when I say this, very clear. This is a rumor that we have heard, and we have no evidence to support this rumor. The rumor is that this child may have been sold. Again, we know how this goes with social media. I don't want to sit here and speculate that this child is deceased, but it is a distinct possibility that the child may be sold. And if that is the case, again, your participation in this and keeping that kid's face out front and center where people can see him on a day-to-day basis is highly important here. He could be anywhere. So it's hard to speculate that you know, whether he's dead or alive, to be quite honest with you. I tend to be an optimist. I'm going to believe that he's alive, and I'm going to keep pursuing this case to the best that we can to try to find him. So.
You said yesterday that November is when some relatives last reported seeing him. As your investigation has moved forward, have you found any date past November that he has been spotted in any certain area, or is that still loose November date what you're going with?
We have had some. We have had some family that have reported seeing him more recently. However, we've been able to disprove those statements. So the last statements that we've been able to prove and the last sighting of him is still November of 22.
So when those family members say that they've seen him recently, just for clarification, were they being deceptive, or was that family members who were just
Yeah, we're still trying to look in on whether they were being deceptive or not. But I do know that that was the statements that came in, and we've been able to disprove that.
So right now, are there any criminals, maybe, I know there's a lack of evidence right now, but are you naming any suspects or persons of interest who, besides who has fled?
Yeah, I was going to say our person of interest right now is Mom. I mean, we need to talk to Mom.
But are we also naming stepfather and any other relatives who might be in North Texas?
Yeah, so we're not going to name any other step relative or any other relatives that might be living here just yet. We have had a lot of cooperation from the family. So let me be clear there. We've just been able to disprove some of the statements. Now, whether those statements were intentionally deceit or not, we don't know, and we're still looking into that. We've got probably no less than 30 different investigators looking at this case from all different aspects between local, state, and federal partners. So we've got a lot of ground to still cover as we look to unravel all this.
Let's say that you located in India or wherever they are. What would be the next step for you to do? Let's just say.
Well, as of right now, we don't have a criminal offense against the family, right? So our first step is to try to figure out what happened to Noel. Once we find out what happened to Noel and we're able to determine if a crime was committed or not, and a crime was indeed committed, then at that point we would work with our federal partners to find out what options there may be to bring them back. But again, that's further down the road, and that's all speculation on even if a crime was committed.
Chief, you mentioned, I think yesterday about the dad, and you were able to communicate with him in Mexico. So does he not have any custodial rights or legal rights as the father? Is he participating? Is he wanting to be involved in this now?
Yeah, the father's actually been very cooperative with us. He has been on calling us regularly to try to get updates on the investigation. He has expressed concern on the whereabouts of his child, and you know, he's obviously been deported, so I don't think that he has any custodial rights. But we are investigating and looking at all options there.
You mentioned that they were living.
Talk with the entire family, or there is any family member that you have not been met with so far?
Yes, we've been meeting with several different family members face to face and talking with relatives about the case, and for the most part, almost all of them have been highly cooperative.
And
So.
the initial release said that he was last seen midnight Monday, I believe. Is that still the case, or has that
Yeah, so let me, and I know that's a common question that keeps coming up. So the alerts that were sent out, when we investigated this case is very unique. The circumstances are very different from the majority of other cases when we have missing kids or abductions. So as we investigated this case, we worked with the Texas Fusion Center. There are certain guidelines that are put out in order to issue those alerts, and those requirements have to be met. In working with the Texas Fusion Center, the circumstances surrounding this case were so unique that we decided to push through with the Amber Alert and with the Endangered Missing Persons Alert, even though it didn't meet the criteria. The case was so unique. So in order for it to meet the criteria, those dates that appear on the form are not the accurate dates and the ones that we've put out on all of our press releases and so forth, those are the accurate dates and times.
And is there any new information you can give us on the original source that reached out about their concern, or what was said? What was their concern?
Yeah, the original source didn't come directly to us. It came through CPS, so I don't have that information to give out. I do know that it was told to CPS that they wanted to remain anonymous.
Chief, you said, I know you said it's a rumor.
Sure.
But in terms of how you're saying that possibility of the child being sold, what are some circumstances that could surround that? How do you begin to even investigate that? And is this where your federal assistance comes in?
Well, and that's what we're doing right now. We're investigating all possibilities right now. Nothing is off the table. We don't have any evidence to support one direction or another. So we are truly investigating all possibilities. And we're doing that through very, very meticulous investigative task. I mean, that's why we're out there again today conducting a more thorough search of the property. That's why our investigators are looking at everything from receipts to forms they may have filled out. We're attempting to collect all kinds of other data and working on the vehicles. I think we've had several crews out there today, and you saw us tow off another vehicle today. Again, that's just us being as thorough as we possibly can on this investigation. That vehicle has had no relation to this investigation so far, but we've got consent to search it, so we're going to search it. We're going to do everything we can. We're trying to leave no stone unturned here. And our federal partnership has been great. They've been helpful, not just on that potential front, but on every front. We've been working with Homeland Security, and they're working to verify all the information on the travel for us. We've been working on with Customs and Border Protection on the status of the father and what can we do to try to improve the communication here. So the partnerships are great, but we are investigating where Noel is, and that means that we're not going to leave any stone unturned, and we're going to keep going every avenue we can.
Noel is said to be living with disabilities and medical issues. Have you been in touch with hospitals, or has he been
Sure.
treated anywhere around?
Sure. So yeah, we've been working with all the area hospitals, and we do have some medical records, and we are continuing to get more medical records coming in. I have not had a chance to review those medical records, so I don't have any dates prepared for you today as far as when the most recent trip was, or the most recent evaluation was. But we are cooperating, and the hospitals are cooperating with us and sharing all of that information. We're looking at all that.
One thing about CPS, have they been involved at all with this family prior to the report of Noel's disappearance?
Yeah, I mentioned that yesterday. So we can't go into specific details regarding previous cases, but what I can tell you is that there have been previous investigations and there has been prior action against the mother as a result of those investigations. But that's the most that I'm able to release.
But she had custody of him.
She was the custodial mother of all 7 children in that home, yes.
And then the second thing, just about the tips. Yesterday your plea to the public, if you had seen this family, seen this child, had any interaction, can you talk about why you were asking for that and how necessary these tips are in your investigation?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's extremely necessary. I mean, that is the only lead that we're going to get right now unless something else turns up from these searches. But so far, we haven't got anything. I mean, we are coming up empty-handed on every aspect that we traditionally go for as law enforcement. And we're turning to the public, and we really are pleading. If you know anything, and we've been getting calls all day today, people who have known the family over the years, people who may have seen this child, 3-4 years ago, people that went to school with a mom. I mean, we've had a lot of different tips that come in, and we want those. We need those in this case. And I said yesterday, I don't care how long ago it was. I don't care how small you might think it is. We want to know, because it's going to be that one small tip that comes in that's going to snowball into a much bigger break for this investigation.
Chief, if unfortunately these rumors turn out to be true, what kind of crime or crimes would you be looking at?
Sure. So we're looking at, I'm assuming you're talking about if the child was sold, right? And we're playing a whole lot of ifs and whens and so forth, and I really don't like doing that. But certainly if that was the case, we'd be looking at human trafficking charges and other potential neglect charges, abuse charges, those sorts of things.
Chief, has law enforcement been in contact with law enforcement in India?
We have not. So we will work with our federal partners to make that connection and work with them over there. But we as far as the Everman Police Department, has not been in direct contact with them.
Where in India? What was the final destination?
We don't know that yet. I don't have confirmation on the flights. We're waiting on confirmation from Homeland Security on whether they were on the flight from Turkey to India. All we have is the visa that shows and indicates they were traveling to India, and we know that the plane was going from Turkey to India. I don't have final confirmation just yet that they were on that flight, and I don't know the exact destination in India.
When there is a wellness check and it's from DPS and Everman Police Department does respond to that, is there any kind of documentation that she would have had to show saying that he has primary custody, or why wasn't that asked or done?
I'm sorry, why he has primary custody?
Well, if she said that Noel was with the dad
Sure.
and that was during the wellness check, why did she not show any document, or what is that process?
Yeah, so there's no documentation to show that he can't be in custody of the child. There was nothing to support that he couldn't, there was nothing prohibiting him from being in Mexico with his father. And it was certainly a very plausible statement that she made, that he was in Mexico with his father. and it's certainly believable, and there was no reason to doubt. The officer that was on scene was able to take a look at the home and take a look at her and have a conversation. She was providing phone numbers and contact information and so forth with the law enforcement officer, so there was no reason to doubt what she was saying until investigators were able to make contact with the father, and he denied that claim.
Regarding the past CPS, CPI investigations, just for clarification, if you can speak to it, those past instances that you said she had with CPS, were those directly with this 6-year-old or those with any of these 6 other children that she had? Can you
Yeah,
specify?
I'm not going to be able to specify on that, but
Are there any efforts being made with dad coming to the U.S. on a temporary visa so that
I'll tell you, we are exploring that. I just don't know what the possibilities are right now. But we have thought about that and are exploring that as a possibility and trying to converse with our CBP partners on that.
Has there been other information from the relatives who said they hadn't seen him since November? Are they cooperating with this? What have they told you?
Yeah, they've been cooperating, and initially, as all this started, they're the ones that provided that information and confirmed that they haven't seen him since November as well, in addition to the anonymous tip. So the majority of the family has been cooperative with us. We are continuing to follow up with the family as best as we can and try to pull out any additional information that they may have that would be helpful in this case.
How long will you search the structure, or is that complete, or is it still ongoing?
No, as far as I know, I believe that search is still ongoing. Are they still out there right now? Yeah, that search is still ongoing right now. So, we'll search it until we're satisfied that we've located anything in that house that may be of use to us in this investigation.
How long has she been with this new husband, who's not the biological father of Noel? And just to clarify, I know you gave his name yesterday, but should we be saying that he is also a person of interest, or are you just saying the mother at this point?
Well, and I want to use person of interest very, very carefully because, again, we don't have a criminal offense here yet. We don't have any physical evidence of a criminal offense. Is he involved, and do we want to talk to him? Absolutely. But I'd be very careful about person of interest from my end. Yes, we do want to talk to Arshdeep. We would love to talk with Arshdeep. We would be hopeful that maybe he has additional information that he could share with us that would lead us to Noel. So, absolutely.
How long have they been together?
I'm sorry. Say again.
But first part, have they been together a long time? Or
Yeah, so they do have 5-month-old twins together. He is the father of the 5-month-old twins, so I would imagine that they've been together for at least 14 months. I don't know about any relationship beyond that.
how long have they been behaving there?
That I don't have that information readily available, but I'll try to get that for you.
Are you searching inside? Have they cleared out as if they've moved? No sign of them?
Yeah, so we are searching inside, and I can tell you that no, they have not cleared out. The house is still has the majority of their property in it and things, so there's no signs that they've cleared that out.
Is there anything to suggest that Noel has been in that property recently, or that he hasn't, either way?
They're still searching, so I don't know the answers to that just yet.
Was he ever enrolled in Everman schools?
No, he has not been enrolled in school at all.
Is the new husband the connection to Turkey? I'm sorry, to India?
To India, yeah, we believe so. So he is an immigrant from India, yes.
You mentioned that they were living in a backyard. Can you speak as to what that situation looks like, guest house?
Yeah, it looks like it was a shed, a pretty large shed that was converted to a living space, a single living space in a shed. And yes, all 9 of them were residing in that single living space.
How long did she live in Everman, or was she an Everman resident?
I don't know the answer to that, but I'll try to get that for you. Any other questions? Sure. No, I appreciate it. And again, we want to keep this up front. The public help and your help on this has been very instrumental. So as we get more information, we'll be sure to pass it along to you. The big thing is Noel's still missing, so the more we can keep his face and name out in front, the better. And I appreciate your help on that.
Are you planning a briefing sometime tomorrow?
Yeah, we'll probably do another briefing at 3:30 tomorrow, just so I can provide, again, any other updates. And I know that everybody's got questions. Keep in mind, too, we're a small agency. I've only got 18 people on my staff within the police department, so I try to be as responsive to my emails as I possibly can. I've been out in the field all day long with him, with the boots on the ground, so I try to be as responsive as I can. If I don't get to you right away, please accept my apologies, but we will try to get this information out to you as quickly as we can.
Are you getting assistance from Tarrant County with this search, or?
Yeah, we're getting assistance from Tarrant County, Forest Hill Police, Fort Worth Police has been helpful. Arlington Police has been helping us out with some of the media equipment and things out here. So, this isn't just an Everman police situation. This is obviously all law enforcement working together.
At
So,
this moment, the search is just
Well, I got to be very careful about how we're allocating resources. I mean, we don't have any reason to believe that Noel would be anywhere else right now. If we found any sort of evidence that he may be elsewhere off the property, absolutely, we will search that, and we'll expand our search out.
Did the
Okay.
property owner say the last time he saw Noel?
I don't have that answer. I know the investigators did talk to him, but I don't have that answer. All right.
Is it a legal dwelling in the back of the home?
No, not by city code. It is not. Yes. All right.
What's the name of the mother, Chief?
The mother, Cindy Rodriguez-Alvarez. Yeah, Cindy Rodriguez-Alvarez. Singh. I'm sorry, Cindy Rodriguez-Singh.
And can you spell the name of the stepfather?
Yes, it's ARSHDEEP, all one word. Last name is SINGH. No problem. All right, thank y'all very much. I appreciate it.